Everyone, thank you guys so much for joining me here today on my channel. My name is Alyssa. I typically do Pilates at home workouts here on my channel, but I figured why as well do a little bit of a get ready with me, a Q&A of some questions that you guys had asked me over on my Instagram. This is anything between my Pilates journey, how I became an instructor, the training program that I went through, some tips and tricks that I would give anybody that's new for becoming an instructor, and some things that people may not tell you when it comes to becoming a Pilates instructor. So I feel like this could be really beneficial. Hopefully this is helpful. And if at least it's not helpful, maybe you like some of the beauty products that I'm going to be talking about. I will leave all the products linked down below in the description box. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me here. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. It would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much. And comment down below. Say hello. Maybe ask me some questions about some things that you want to go ahead and have me provide for you then in the future. Maybe going through how I would format a class, so going over like a class sequence and a format. Yeah, just anything that might come to mind. Even if you wanted to see more 20-minute workout videos on my channel, please let me know. I would love to see it. If you also like get ready with me videos, I can certainly do that as well. So just let me know. I serve the people, but say hello and to everybody else watching this video. And just to be mindful, I am looking over at my computer with some list of some things that I want to go ahead and talk about. So if I'm looking over this way, it's because I just want to make sure that I am talking about everything that I wanted to. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this video. All right, so I already prepped my skin. I use the Kiehl's Hydro Pump Serum. It comes in like a large pump bottle, and then you can just sit, and it has a nice pump. And then I also have on the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream, and then the Creamy Avocado eye cream as well. So I already prepped my skin for this. And the first thing that I always go ahead and put on then is obviously foundation. So I use the Valentino, Very Valentino, I think it is, with SPF 26 till it zooms in. So full disclosure, I love this foundation. I love foundation that has SPF in it, but I recently just tried looking for this foundation in a shade lighter and a shade darker. I self-tan very often, so I tried looking and I can't find it anywhere. So I'm pretty sure it's being discontinued, and I'm very, very sad because any single time that I wear this, I get so many compliments on my skin. I get men coming up to me at the bar and asking me what foundation I'm using, and they're telling me, not what foundation that I'm using, but they're telling me like, oh my gosh, your skin looks so good. And then also my clients, when I teach, sometimes they'll come up to me afterwards and be like, your skin is glowing, it looks so good, and like just super natural. And I'm like, oh my God, thanks. Well, it's this foundation. So very sad that it's being discontinued, but I do have a little bit of color still on my neck from my self-tanner. So I am going to go in with the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. I get these in the nice little mini sizes because I do self-tan frequently. I like to make sure that I just have mini sizes because I'm different shades throughout the week. I'm going to pull back my sleeve and just go ahead and give this a little tiny dot just for a little bit of color. And then also just one pump of the Valentino. And I'm going in with this It Cosmetics brush. It is the number 2. It looks like it's the Airbrush Smoothing Foundation brush. Again, I will link to everything down below. So one pump of the Valentino over top of the It Cosmetics. It's running low. No. I'll give myself a little bit more. So usually I do one pump, but it sounds like it's running low, and I'm very sad about that. So first things first, like being a Pilates instructor. So I think we should probably start off with essentially how I became a Pilates instructor, because I didn't always teach Pilates. So I'm just pressing this into my skin. So how did I start? I actually first started teaching group fitness, and it wasn't Pilates. I actually started off with teaching TRX. So I taught TRX for a few months at a local studio, probably back in 2021, 22 maybe. I forget the exact year, but I first started teaching TRX, and then eventually moved my way into teaching strength. And then from strength, eventually I then made my way into teaching spin. my goal always was to teach spin. I was obsessed, and I still am obsessed with spin. Indoor cycling, especially rhythmic. I like rhythmic spin better than power spin. And I don't bicycle outside. I like the indoors, just me personally. I'm just not that kind of girl. And so I taught TRX, taught strength, and then a few months later, probably about over a year later, then I actually then started teaching spin, which is again my whole goal. I taught spin for about, I want to say, a few months, and then from there, one of the studios that I was working at the time had asked if I would be interested in getting my Pilates certification and teaching down at the Jersey Shore. So I said, sure, yeah, why not? I've been teaching fitness for about a little bit, and I thought it was a great opportunity, and it seemed like fun. I had no obligations. Essentially, we were still remote with my job at the time, and then also I would have a place to stay down at the shore. So I was like, sure, why not? What a great opportunity. So I had to go ahead and get certified when I was going to be going ahead and teaching. So this was probably in January when I was asked to teach Pilates. It was going to be mat Pilates down at the Jersey Shore. So from there, what training program did I go and use for my Pilates? So I had asked around a few people, and one of the girls that I was good friends with had told me that she also got her Pilates certification as well. So I went off of what she had told me that she used, which is Balanced Body. Balanced Body is used all over the world. I loved the training that I had for Balanced Body. Something to keep in mind, there's different types of Pilates. There's the contemporary style, there's the classical, and then there's more of like the athletic side. So Balanced Body's training program is going to be more of a contemporary style and training program. For Balanced Body, there are various different courses that you go ahead and take. So for mat and reformer, or you can get your whole comprehensive, which is mat and reformer. If you were to take mat, it would just be the courses that you would need, that I needed to take, were anatomy, movement principles. Movement principles is a prerequisite for mat 1. If you just take mat 1 without taking movement principles, it's not really going to click and make sense. So definitely go ahead and take movement principles at some point if you had already just taken mat 1. Then from mat 1, 2, and 3. So there's 5 total courses that you were to take in order to then test out and get your mat certification. So again, movement anatomy, movement principles, mat 1, 2, and 3, and then you can test out and be certified in mat. Very similar to reformer. Reformer, you needed the anatomy, movement principles, and then reformer 1, reformer 2, and then reformer 3. If you were to take all of that together with the comprehensive, you wouldn't need to go ahead and take the courses again if you've already taken movement principles and anatomy. So if you wanted to get then your comprehensive, it would have been anatomy, movement principles, mat 1, 2, 3, and then reformer 1, 2, and 3. So that's 8 different courses in order to go ahead and test out and get certified through Balanced Body. This I'm just talking about from my experience too as well on the trainings that I had to do. I know different Pilates trainings offer different things and different courses. So again, I cannot speak for those other courses. I'm just speaking from my experience and the training program that I had taken. So at the time, I only did my mat. Then that way, I was only going to be certified in mat. So from there, I only did my mat, and then eventually I went down to the shore and taught down at the Jersey Shore for that summer. It is located in Sea Isle and Avalon, and it was such an incredible experience. I loved doing it, really, really. It was a lot because, again, I still have a full-time job, but let me tell you, it was an incredible experience. If I could do it again, I absolutely would. So that looks like my foundation is nice and blended. It's a little bit too dark, I will say, but I kind of pulled it down a little so it doesn't look too bad. So that's good. Next product that I'm going to go in with is my bronzing stick. So I actually use this to kind of contour my face, but it's like a bronzer. and I'm such a cream product girl. This is the Nude Sticks Bondi Babe. Nice little bronzing. You pull the top right off. And it's just like a really nice shade. It doesn't look like too brown, and it doesn't look like too like orange. I feel like it's the perfect shade for me. So I always take this, and I take this on the highest cheekbone. Essentially, I know that I have like a longer face and I have more of like a heart-shaped face, but I really just like that lifted effect. It's just my preference. I know that some people would tell me to make it a little bit fuller, but I actually really like it. And I have like a nice, I have like a, not a large forehead, but I like to make it look smaller. So I just take it across the top, and then I just blend like such. So once I got my MAHTE certification, taught down at the Jersey Shore, about a few months later, I actually was like, I kind of want to take this a little bit further and want to go ahead and get my reformer certification. So eventually the following year, in that spring, I went ahead and was asked if I would be interested again. I also wanted to do it, but I was asked again if I would be interested in teaching reformer, and I was like, yes, I actually plan on doing it. It's fantastic. So from there, I actually got my reformer training. It was really grueling. It was a really crazy time in my life. I was like, I don't know if I can do all this in like this amount of time frame. Also too, full disclosure is that when you go and do your training, it's like an investment when you become a Pilates instructor, because each of those courses that I said, those were like 8 courses. Those 8 courses were between $600 to $700. So you're spending probably what, $4,800 on, at least minimum, on your Pilates training that you're getting. I will say, I know it's expensive, but you're definitely investing in yourself. You're investing in your future, and you're investing in your practice. And the trainings that I had were incredible. We had incredible trainers, and I'm super thankful that I went through that training program. I think they did a really good job, but it is an investment not only with your money, but with your time, because after that, you still have to do your instructor hours, which is meaning like you shadow, you practice. And once you can test out, you have to have a minimum of like, it's a minimum of like 500 hours, 600 hours, 700 hours. So it's definitely a lengthy process. But I remember at the time I was like, I don't know if I could do all this, but I got it done, thankfully, for the support of my family and everybody else. So I was definitely very, very blessed and very thankful for that. I definitely don't want to take it for granted then there. So from there, sorry, I'm like in the way with this, and I just wanted a little bit more bronzer right there on that side. I could probably do my forehead a little, but I think it's fine. And then just blending this in, just stamping it in. This brush is from the brand Crown. I don't even know if they make these brushes anymore, but at the time, the brushes were on sale for like 75 cents a piece, so I just got like a whole bag of them. I think I got like 30 different brushes, so like I just pull a new one every so often. So crazy, I know. Next thing that I'm going to go in with is the Natasha Denona concealer. Great things about this. I love this concealer. I'm actually not a huge concealer kind of person in general, but I really, really like how this actually goes ahead and brightens up my under eye here. I use just a very, very small amount. I find that like recently, I think it's because I'm just like so stressed, honestly, that I haven't been really like sleeping like a whole lot, or maybe I should say, well. So the bags under my eyes are not designer by any means, but hopefully Natasha can cover them up, okay? So after you get your Pilates instructor training, once you get certified, I will say it does not guarantee you that you will get hired by a studio just because you went through the training. So a lot of studios that I have worked with, I was actually very blessed that when I had actually started fitness, I was again, I started off teaching TRX. I was very lucky and blessed that the studio that I went for and was already a client at wanted to invest in me and give me that instructor training. I'm very, very lucky. I will say not a lot of studios do that. So I was very lucky to go ahead and have them do that for me. Otherwise, I don't know if, I don't know where I'd be. So, I mean, you never know. I'm just very blessed and very thankful that they wanted to go ahead and invest in me. So with that being said, just because you get certified in something doesn't mean that you, like, studios are just going to automatically hire you. There's definitely a curve between getting your certification and then going into the instructor training. Something that they don't really teach you in your trainings is like the instructing part of Pilates, especially when it comes to cueing. Cueing, you could probably tell somebody something 10 different ways, and you're going through the same exercise, but the cueing is said in 10 different ways. And so in that way, it can also translate over to the client. I will say that that's probably the hardest part. And also just taking the time to, like, say things out loud, explain things, get familiar with it, get familiar with your formats and your flows and your, how you speak, how do you want to flow with everything in your class. So the biggest thing that I would honestly probably take away is if you are just starting out and you got your training and you don't have any instructor training, my biggest advice is to just practice on your friends and family. Like, I remember before even my audition for TRX, I was practicing on people in my apartment. My good friend Liv was in here and we were like practicing. Let me tell you, it was not good by any means. It was terrible. Anything that I was saying was like just not translating, and it had nothing to do with her. It had everything to do with me and me getting comfortable and me being familiar with turning that switch on to instructor mode. And then I would also go to the park. I would take my straps and I would just hook them up there and meet up with my friends and walk through like a mini class with them, demonstrating, talking things out. And then I eventually then went into my audition. It went great. I mean, it went great for like the first time of like being on a mic. And then they wanted to hire me, but they wanted to go ahead and give me that instructor training. So it was a 4 week of training. Essentially, I would have to come up with a class format and flow. And then each week present to them and walk through an entire class with them. And they would give me advice of things to go ahead and look out for. Like, don't be so wordy when you're explaining things, maybe thinking about things before they even happen, walking around the room. It's not about doing the exercise, it's all about the client. So there's those little things that came up, and they were super beneficial. And even after that, I would go ahead and practice in the studio by myself and just talking things out, working through the formats of how I wanted my class plans to flow. I was definitely in the beginning, wrote out everything that I wanted to occur in those classes. So I love using my finger for concealer. So that definitely helped. And then I was also, again, in the studio by myself. And like every Saturday and Sunday, I would be doing it. And it was probably for about a month before I even taught my first class. So I was already going into it very familiar with how I wanted my class to be. And of course, your first class is like always like a little nerve-wracking, but it went really well. So my biggest advice is to practice on your friends and family. Practice. Literally practice when you're in the car. Practice when you're in your apartment. Practice when you have downtime. Because that is going to take you so far, and just getting familiar and speaking out loud is going to really help you. Like, think about when you're public speaking and you're practicing your speech. If you're a public speaker, you're in the mirror and you're talking to yourself essentially, and that is what you do when you're training. I just used the blush. This is the Nude Sticks Sun Kissed Blush, or it's the Sun Kissed Pink. That's the name of it. And I just put little 2 circles on either of my higher cheeks, and I just blend this out as well. So practice. I think that's going to take you really far. The next thing is, okay, when you're practicing, how do you want this to go ahead and flow for your clients? So how I go ahead and format my classes for both mat and reformer is very similar. So mat reformer, I always start off of getting it connected to our bodies, getting connected to our space that you're going to be on. Maybe clients were rushing from work. Maybe there was a parking situation. Maybe they got a bad phone call during the day and they didn't even feel like coming. Maybe it's their part in their cycle and they're like, I have no energy and I don't want to do anything else. So these are things that these clients that are walking through the door might be feeling. And it's very, very important to have them get connected and take a second and take a breath before we go ahead and work on our mats or our carriages. So I'll just give them a nice minute or two to just inhale and exhale with their eyes closed, being really intentional, taking a second to slow down and regroup and really just relax, because when they come in, they're probably rushed and you can see it sometimes in their shoulders. It allows them to just relax a little. So being intentional there, I always go ahead and start off that way. And then the first probably 10 to 15 minutes, we are doing core. I feel like core is very overlooked in any sort of exercises. Obviously, Pilates, you're working that spine, so it's very important to have that core connection. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz. It's probably not focusing, but you've probably seen it before. This is in the shade dark brown. I love this stuff. It's so good. I love doing my eyebrows. I never get my eyebrows done because I just have trust issues with people doing my brows. So I'm just going to fill these in. All right. So again, starting off with core for the first 10 to 15 minutes. From there, I'll probably go into, depending on how the playlist is speaking, in mat. I make my playlist a little bit different from mat to reformer, but for mat, I would maybe, depending on if the playlist is speaking for itself, depending on time, we might do like a nice little 30-second burner before we go ahead and work the lower body and glutes. So lower body and glutes, you have one cheek and then the other cheek. So you're probably working the lower body probably about 20 minutes, I want to say. So think about it, 10 to 15, you are showing up with intention. That's already 40 minutes of your class. And your class might be 45 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on what studio you're at. And you're pretty much at time there. So depending on if I'm working the lower body, I like to do actually a lot of dynamic movements in my classes. Then that way they're constantly working and they're constantly flowing and it's a full body exercise the entire time. I like to do that in both my mat and my reformer classes. So I will say that my reformer classes are going to be more of like an athletic, whereas my mat classes are definitely going to be more of a contemporary style, but they're still going to be sculpty, my mat. It's still going to be a full body burn, full body shake. People tell me that is more of a slow flow that I have, but it's because I like to fatigue the muscle as much as possible. That's just me personally. And when I teach, I like to make sure that we're also having fun. I teach themed workouts, theme playlists. So each week it might be a different playlist or theme. Like 1 week I'll do Drake. 1 week I'll do Kendrick Lamar. 1 week I will do Sabrina Carpenter. 1 week I'll do Taylor Swift. Or 1 week I'll do Fred again. So it'll be like different each and every single week. And I think clients really do enjoy that at the end of the day because it's something that they can look forward to and they're like, oh my gosh, what theme is it? So make it fun. And then if you still have it, like, again, so you're starting off with core, 10 to 15 minutes, lower body, dynamic movements maybe for 20. And then if you have a little bit of extra time, I would probably then just go into a nice arm series or a burnout. So that burnout could be a low impact burpee. It could be a squat to an overhead press. Maybe it's just holding it in a high plank and then going in for some push-ups. So it really just depends. And then we finish with how we started. We lay there in apine position. We're down on our stomachs, cheek rested on the mat, hands by our sides, letting our heart rate come down. And we just did take a second to thank our bodies, thank our minds. And then that's it. I just went in with the Makeup by Mario. This is the Longwear Cream Eyeshadow. I was reading it. It's in this shade Chestnut, and I just put this on the outer corners of my eyes, and I just begin to blend it in. I recently picked this up from Sephora, and it's so good. And I just tap it right in with my finger. I didn't even clean off my finger from the concealer because I want it to be like a natural eye look. So I'm just blending this in just a little bit. Sorry if you can't see me and my mirror is in the way. That is how I structure my classes. From there, it's very important that in the beginning, you kind of write down how you want your classes to go. In the beginning, I wrote down everything that I wanted to do. And now that I'm more acclimated and I'm more familiar, and because of experience and time, it's kind of like you just kind of pick it up on the fly. So I wouldn't say I don't necessarily plan anything anymore. It's just that I kind of already have a general idea of how I want the class to go. And that comes with time and experience. I will say, in the beginning though, you are going to be the person that's fixating. I remember like even teaching spin, I would fixate on everything. But now, because after I've gotten a few years under my belt, especially now that I only teach Pilates, I have noticed that like it's just so much more fun if you just like let it flow and let the playlist speak for itself, let the class speak for itself, look around the room. You might have to change something, look at your clients and seeing how they're feeling during those movements. Is it, are they a little bit, if it's a rainy day, I will say, this might be controversial, but if it's a rainy day, I'm going to notice that a lot of the clients don't have that much energy as they would normally. And I think it's because it's the weather. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a hot take from what I've seen and experienced. I don't know. But it's okay to plan and write down everything in the beginning when you are teaching. I'm going in next with the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in the eye color crayon. It's in Vanilla Kiss, and I just put this in like I don't want to say the inner corner area, but like definitely like, yeah, right in the, I guess it is the inner corner. I don't know. I'm not a makeup person. And I just draw it on in both. And I really, really like this because it brightens up the eyes, but it makes it like a very natural look. So I just put that on, and then again, I'm just taking my fingers that they didn't even wipe off from any excess that I had from any of the concealer or anything, and I just take them and I just blend it, tap it in, and blend it in with my finger. Again, I feel like the finger is just like, it literally melts everything together, like so seamlessly. It took me like, what, 3 taps and I'm done, you know? You know? You're like, I don't know. I'm going to zoom you guys in then too, so that way you can see a little bit closer of how it looks. Oh my gosh, we never applied a brow gel. We need to go ahead and put those puppies into place. So let's go ahead and do that. If I can see anything. So much better. I'm like, why do they look unpolished? So let's go ahead and zoom you guys in, so that way you guys can see. Let's zoom you in a little bit more. So as you can see, it just looks like I'm literally wearing no eyeshadow but no makeup, and my eyelashes need to be curled. So let's go ahead and curl the lashes. Zoom you out. Beautiful. All right, so out of anything in this video, if you wanted to pick up anything, any of these products, it has to be this eyelash curler. It's from Shiseido. It's the best one. I've used it for years. You definitely need it. I love curling my lashes. So easy and so simple. So let me go ahead and make it some weird faces and curl these lashes. Beautiful. Stunning. What no one tells you about becoming a Pilates instructor is that it's okay to want to be on the schedule multiple times throughout the week, but it is also really, especially when you're just starting out. I remember I wanted to teach as much as possible. Burnout does happen, and it's because that it is probably more mentally draining than it is physical when you are teaching probably over 10 classes a week. This might be controversial, but again, it's just my opinion. It's very important that you go ahead and also take time for yourself as an instructor, because when you're teaching so much, it then takes away from your own practice. And I think that you should continue always wanting to practice. Pilates is also practice every single time. It's never going to be really perfect every single time that you show up on your mat. So I think it's very important that people also, as you're an instructor, to go ahead and take time to also practice for yourself, because you don't want to plateau. If you just stop practicing and you stop training, your classes are going to just be here at a linear pace, and you want to just to make sure that you're always constantly progressing and learning. Then that way you're also being informed of new things, new movements. Go ahead and take other instructor classes, take online videos, go to like in-person trainings, continued on that education. I think that's going to go a long way, because again, you're not only investing in yourself, but you're also investing into the community and being a part of it. I think that also goes a long way. So when you're teaching so much, it kind of takes away from that. So just make sure that you are also have a day dedicated to also be practicing. This mascara is from Clinique. It's the high impact mascara. I get the minis because you're always supposed to change them out every couple of months, and this actually keeps me accountable, and it's just mini, and it's nice and easy to go along and travel with. Another thing that people don't tell you about is your voice. So some studios have microphones, some studios don't, so it really just depends on which one that you were teaching at. It is important that you are projecting and that you are clear and concise with your voice. I've noticed that since I have been teaching, my voice has gotten a lot raspier, because at my full-time job, I am constantly talking to people. And then when I am then teaching, I am projecting my voice and making sure that I am loud and clear so everybody can hear me in the room. So there is that part of it that you need to be aware of. Make sure that you go ahead and rest your voice, drink tea. It's okay. The next thing from there really touches upon with your voice is your cueing. So I kind of touched upon this. Your cueing is very, very important, especially when you were teaching reformer. When you are on the mat, you can kind of be there and demonstrate with how the class should flow from one movement to the next. But when you are teaching reformer, you're not going to have a carriage to do all these exercises on. So really, really being clear and concise with your cueing is very, very important when you are teaching reformer. You can probably explain things at multiple different times, and probably about the 8th or 9th time that you say it, it's going to click in your client's head. I notice that when clients get on the carriage, it's a kind of like your brain turns off, and you don't know what your elbows are, you don't know what your wrists are, you don't know what your feet are. What I mean by that is it's kind of like your brain turns off, and you're like, when you say heels on, people put the balls of their feet on. So like, it's always go ahead and making sure that you're nice, clear, and concise with your cueing there. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I know that it's going to take some time. Again, that's where that practice comes into place, with practicing on your friends and family, especially people that have never done Pilates before. Those are going to be your best ticket items to go ahead and make sure that you can also go ahead and articulate to those clients what movements and how do you want them to move is. Next thing is that your clients are going to become like your family. This is going to be your community. These are going to be your people. You're going to have people that come to you religiously every single week, and you're going to have some people that, only come and then they notice that you're not their cup of tea, and that's totally fine. Everybody has different personalities, different teaching techniques, and different verbiage, different energy, okay? You're not going to always be liked by every single client, but when you do have your core people that come every single week, they are going to become like family. So that is actually really nice. Making that connection and giving back to the community, I think, is really, really rewarding. Sometimes though, when you are there, and this is the next thing that nobody tells you, is that sometimes you're going to feel drained. I know that sometimes when I am coming from the office and I've been on phone calls for 3 hours, and the last thing that I want to do is use my voice, and I'm just drained at the end of the day. So there are going to be times where you're completely drained, but it's not about you. It's about showing up for your clients, because maybe they were having a worse day than you and they still chose to come to your class. It is not your time to work out when you were teaching. It is their workout, not yours. I will be standing firm with that until the end of time. It is their workout. It is not yours. Okay. So that is something from there. And then the last thing that sometimes nobody tells you is that you are really excited sometimes to teach a class, and then all of a sudden you teach a class and you're like, I don't know what that was. So every single time that you teach, it's not always going to be your best class. It's okay that it's not always going to be your best class. And I think that's also a really good time to go back and reflect and say, okay, what worked with this? What didn't? Did I need to build them up more? Did my cueing not always go ahead and translate over to my clients that I am teaching? So not every class is going to be your best class, and that's okay. It's all about growing. So don't ever think about it only being Pilates that you're practicing. You're always going to be practicing as an instructor as well. So those are some things. And then the last thing that I want to talk about are some tips that I would say that if you are just starting off with, maybe you're thinking about becoming a Pilates instructor, but what are some of the steps that you can take? Well, number one, you can certainly go ahead and find a studio near you that you love. It can be the people, it can be the studio, maybe the certain aesthetics, and find a studio that is going to resonate with you. It could be definitely a studio that's close by. It could be a studio that's a little bit further. Whatever you so choose, make sure that you go to a studio and you are a regular client there. That is my biggest piece of advice. Get familiar with the staff. Talk to them. Talk to other clients. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to start teaching there, you're already going to have that personal relationship, and they're going to want to come to your class because one, they've seen you in class, and two, they're familiar with you. And, again, it's about building that community, building that camaraderie. And then from there, once you go ahead and find a studio, you're a client there, what I would do then is obviously get your training done, get certified, take a few courses. From there, once you go ahead and take those courses, practice on your friends and family. Most studios want to have people that have already been teaching for a year or two. With that, I know that that comes with a disadvantage, but what you can do, and this is something that I highly suggest, is if you want this and you are driven and you want to become a Pilates instructor, what I would suggest is practicing on your friends and family, asking instructors tips and tricks of how they go ahead and teach, ask them how they format the classes. From there, once you practice so much and you're familiar, what I would do is I would reach out to the studio and say, hey, my name is Alyssa. I just got my mat training done. I'm still doing this, and this. I need to get my training hours in. This is who I practiced on, and I would love to teach at your studio. Here's a video of me demonstrating a 5-minute core series, and literally film yourself and send it to them. Say, I understand that I don't have the teacher training sort of background, but here's what I've come so far. If there's anything that you see that would be beneficial, please let me know. And then that's kind of like your audition. You're already sticking your foot in the door, and the owner and the studio is going to see that you want this and you are dedicated. And if you're dedicating that much, they're going to want to give back to you as well. That's something that I would do. And yeah, just to continue practicing. Just because you get a certification and you get a piece of paper that says that you've completed this doesn't guarantee that you're going to be working at the studio. I will say that, but just keep showing up, keep practicing on your friends and family, learn from other instructors, go to different studios. Even if you're at a studio and you didn't really vibe well with the instructor, it's going to happen. It really, really will. But find what works best for you, and what is going to resonate most with you. So those are some of the things that I would suggest if you are just starting out with becoming a Pilates instructor. I'm going to be setting my, we need to do lips. So last things that, so we already did our mascara and everything. Oh my gosh, let me show you my eyelashes. Tell me I'm pretty. Look at those babies. So just like a very natural look. Let's zoom in a little more. So as you can see, just a very natural look. Just in my top lashes and my bottom lashes, that high impact mascara really, really separates those lashes. I also use a lash serum. It's called Babe Lash, and it makes your lashes grow. I've been using it for about 1.5 years, and I love it. So I'm going to zoom back out. We're going to do our lips and set our makeup. So I'm going in with the lip liner. I'm so glad that he came back with this. This is the Makeup by Mario lip liner in the shade Toasty. It is so good. I love this lip liner. Game changer. Like I want to drench myself in this. I want to keep applying this over top of my lips multiple times. They just look so good. So I will overline the Cupid's bow. And then just follow my natural lip line after that. And then underneath, overline just a little bit underneath, and then follow my natural lip on the side. Oh my gosh. This stuff is so good. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. Mario, you're an angel. And then once I have that on, I will top it with the Rhode Beauty Pocket Blush. This is in the shade Freckle. It is really, really nice and pretty. I will twist it up and I will put it on the center. And then just a little bit of the top. And then just with my lips there, I will zoom in so then that way you can see them just a little bit closer. So they just look natural. Let's zoom in a little bit more. So they look very, very juicy and very natural, which is something that I like. Let's zoom out. And then the last and final step is this Makeup by Mario setting spray. This mist is absolutely amazing. My skin loves hyaluronic acid, and I love that this setting spray has it. So I will just go 1, 2, and then 3 all over my face, and then I'll do 1 across. It's a really nice mist. I can't wait to show you guys. You ready? And then I will just take my mirror and I will just fan it. I got this mirror when I was in Korea visiting my brother a couple years ago. He lives in Seoul. I know, I have a brother. All right, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for getting ready with me. I really, really love this look. It's been my go-to. I, again, have loved these products that I picked up from Sephora. Specifically this crayon Makeup by Mario and then the Makeup by Mario eyeshadow. Oh my gosh, this lipstick or lip pencil and then the Rhode Pocket Blush. Like these are the recent products that I picked up and I'm obsessed. Also obsessed with the setting spray. Yeah, so I will go ahead and leave all these products linked below. Let's go ahead and zoom in for a final finisher look. So you have the eyes just looking very pretty, very natural. I'm giving myself compliments. And then just this lip combo. It looks really, really nice. I also recently got my hair done and I like love how blonde it is. It's so good. So I hope you guys really, really enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for getting ready with me here and listening about my Pilates instructor journey while also some of the trainings that I had and some tips and tricks along the way. Thank you guys so much for joining me here and I cannot wait to see you guys next time here on my channel. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, comment down below some products that you love, some questions that you might have as well with any Pilates training, anything that you are interested in hearing more about, especially with my experience. And I will see you guys next time here on my channel. Bye, everyone.